This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to another episode of An Anthropologist Watches Jillian Michaels on Jubilee, surrounded by body positivity movement people who want to pick a fight, apparently. So, here's the deal. I really want to react to this. So, we're going to react to this in pieces because we all know I talk a lot. I don't know a whole lot about Jillian Michaels. I don't even know if I'm saying her name correctly. I know that she was on Biggest Loser. I know she was one of the coaches from the first few seasons. I know she has a cookbook out. I know she's a coach. I know she has a wife, ? And apparently she's a big advocate, anti-haze BoPo advocate. So, you know, that wins her points in my book. And in case you're wondering, I'm fixing some of my slimes because I figured what better thing to do while I'm trying to react to a video. What I want to do is there's how many claims? Looks like there's 4 claims altogether. So I think we're going to do 1 claim per video because I'm sure I'm going to have a lot to say. But this is all part of the BoPo haze thing. Now, that being said, I know that a lot of videos are being hit, that a bunch of channels are getting demonetized and are getting hit by YouTube for saying words or phrases that are tagged by people in BoPo and haze. So, that being said, we might end up using strange words or odd word combinations that hopefully will be evident as to what meaning I'm trying to get at. And mostly that's because we are now in a weird phase in our time on YouTube where we have to use word salad in order to convey meaning. So if you hear me saying things like E followed by the letter D or toxic ritualistic behaviors, I'll put a link to Graphically Alex's videos down below in the description for a much better explanation for what those are. That's what's happening. And persons of size, shit like that. It has to happen or my channel's going to get hit and I don't want to lose my channel. So, well, I wouldn't lose my channel. I just don't want to get demonetized. So let's put it that way. And if you're wondering what this is, it's actually pretty cool. Literally and figuratively. It is 90 today. No, today it's only 80-ish. But I don't have AC. I don't have AC right now. So this is like a little, like you freeze it and then you wear it around your neck kind of a deal. And it's like a little personal AC thing. So it's kind of nice. It's working out. You still hear my fan though, unfortunately. So there's any other caveats I need to throw out there for you guys. The flowers are just because I have my hair up and I thought it would be stupid. Is it stupid? Let me know down below. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. If you enjoy the way these videos are edited, be sure to watch all the way through because that's how I pay for my editor. You know, I've been saying for a while that I like doing the anti-haze, anti-BoPo stuff. So I feel like this Jubilee video is a really good idea. I'll be linking the Jubilee video down below as well, obviously. And the Jubilee video has links to pretty much everybody who's involved in this, everybody that Jillian ends up talking to, and all of that good stuff. If you know more about Jillian Michaels, feel free to inform me. I'm far too lazy to look it up, but I do know that she's probably more informed than 90% of the people she's going to end up talking to. Now, I have seen clips of things, including a little bit of Graphically Alex's video. I think it's going to be this first person here that Jillian ends up talking to, and I'll try to remember to link Alex's video as well. Again, Alex was talking about translating the buzzwords that I think it's a therapist, but he starts to talk about how the therapist is signaling or dog whistling to the other people in the audience that they are not a threat and that they're a BoPo Hayes ally, FA being fat acceptance ally. And that's important because it distinguishes the therapist as a non-threat. Yeah. So it's interesting listening to Alex break it down only because I don't think Alex was ever part of fat acceptance, but Alex is a very outspoken anti-BoPo, anti-Hayes, anti-FA activist, self-declared. So I'm not putting words in their mouth. Right. So I want to watch this from an aspect of my own personal opinions on the matter, you know, science and facts. I do think that there's little clips that'll be popping up. I think Jubilee puts these little like fact check moments up. I'll be fact checking the factoids because, you know, Google exists. It's not hard to do. I won't even have to Google some of it, I don't think. And the other thing that I want to look at is just the various ways that, you know, our dark anthropology principles will overlap into some of this. Now, one thing that people do talk about a lot when it comes to fat acceptance, FA, BoPo, body positivity, and health at every size, aka Hayes. Hopefully I can say that without getting hit too hard. One thing that they will say about that. Now, I will use those terms interchangeably because in my head, those are all the way. They're all the same thing. They're the same fucking thing. All right. So I will be using those terms interchangeably. I'll probably be saying like Hayes and BoPo the most. Probably I should say FA though. I don't know. We'll see. But I also have my notes up. So if you see me like looking around, it's because I'm looking at my notes. I'm not going to go too much into the individual principles unless I bring them up. I've gone over them in various videos. Now, something you guys have asked me for, and I haven't done. So before you ask, no, there isn't a video where I go over all 8 principles. I probably should get around to making one of those. I'll get to it, I promise. Today is not that day. I am going to speed this whole video up. First claim, number 1, obesity is not healthy and pretending it is put lives at risk. Now, I don't know. We're not watching the very, very first part of the video because I skipped it. And I'm not going back. And I don't know if these are claims that Jillian has put together herself, or if these are claims that are put together by someone else. But I'm just going to go under the assumption, since Jillian is the one being surrounded, that these are claims that Jillian herself has put together. Especially since Jillian has, you know, worked on The Biggest Loser and, you know, she has like her brand is health. I'm just going to assume that these are claims that she herself has put together, with the exception of the 4th one, but we'll get to that one when we get to it. But right now we are focused on claim number 1. Obesity is not healthy and pretending it is puts lives at risk. I have to, of course, agree that she is correct. Obesity is not healthy. It is a medical condition. It is classified such as there are levels of obesity that are, you know, the higher up on the obesity chart you are, the less healthy you are. Obesity is linked to numerous illnesses, cancers, disorders, that kind of a thing. So like directly linked in some cases. So argue with me if you want, but obesity is bad for you and you're wrong. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I know that it is a major talking point within Hayes and FA that obesity is a 4-letter word, even though it's clearly not. That it is a charged term, that it's a slur, that it's, you know, it shouldn't be used. It, you know, creates medical stigma. And it's like, yeah, but cool. However, you're not defending that it isn't an actual medical condition. And then also in fat acceptance and Hayes, they also like to make the claim that you can be, especially in Hayes, they like to claim that you can be fat and healthy, which you can't. Up to a point, you really can't. There's a reason why it's called overweight. So there's that. But a lot of them will like to say things like, oh, my blood tests come back and they're perfect. Or, we talk about Amber Lynn and the other girls a lot. And Amber likes to say things like, I went to my doctor and she told me that you're healthy, but you are obese. Well, then you're not healthy because you're obese. The obesity negates the healthy claim, kind of a thing. But I'm going to let Jillian go now that I've stated my stance, so you know where I'm coming from. And let's hear, because I haven't watched this whole thing. All right? I haven't watched this whole thing. So let's see where this goes. I will be stopping it frequently. Don't worry.
Not healthy, and pretending it is puts lives at risk.
I also suspect that this is going to be full of a lot of cringe, which means it's going to be really hard for me to watch. So bear with me if I'm like, that's why I have my slime to distract me from the cringe. So bear with me. Bear with me on this one. Let's go.
Do you want to be the first debater? Get to the chair in 3, 2,
The first debater. So there's there'll be multiple debaters.
Hi.
That was awesome.
Nice to meet you.
I'm an eating disorder therapist. I'm going to do my best to not use the O word because I find it pretty offensive.
So this is the little part that I watched on Alex's video where Alex was like, graphically Alex, by the way, where Alex was like, yeah, this is where the therapist is effectively virtue signaling to the rest of the people in the room that she is a non-threat and that she's an ally because she's like, I'm not going to use the O word because I find it offensive. And it's like, it's a medical term. It's like saying I'm not going to use the V word because I find it offensive. You mean vagina? That medical term that describes my genitalia? What would you like me to call it? Kind of a thing. So I've always found that to be a ridiculous thing. But so, yeah, we're kind of doing that here. We're kind of doing that. I'm not going to use the O word because it's offensive. Why? Why is it offensive? Because you don't like the connotations behind it? I'm sorry. You may not believe in obesity, but obesity doesn't care. Obesity believes in you, okay? Anyway.
So I'm going to use fat-bodied as we talk.
Okay.
Do you understand why people find it harmful and triggering?
Overweight and obese is literally just having too much body fat.
What happens here is, what was her name? Katie, I think this woman's name was. The therapist woman decides that she's going to gentle parent Jillian. So this is already getting off to, now maybe it's edited this way. This is the problem with shows like Jubilee and BuzzFeed when they do these kind of shows. They will edit these in like the most confrontational way possible. So it's entirely possible that this is simply being edited in a way to make this woman seem a lot more confrontational than she actually was. But the way that this is coming off when she turns the question around on Jillian is, do you understand why obesity is offensive? And it's just like, why are you talking to me like that? We haven't even said hello and you're already attacking me. So maybe chill out. Maybe back off a little.
Overweight and obese is literally just having too much body fat. It has nothing to do with the quality of the person.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Are we going to debate the claim?
Yeah, I just wanted to. Yeah.
Are we going to debate the acclaim? God bless.
I wanted to clarify, though, the
Are we going to
language.
pretend like I'm a 3 and you're my mommy?
All right. Well, at least we're... Okay, look at their face. You deserved that one, to be fair. I said this was going to be cringy, and I got to put my stuff away now. Look, you kind of deserved that one. You sat down. You sat down. You were immediately confrontational. You were trying to assert your dominance here. I'm not entirely sure why. You were trying to get brownie points by I mean, she had to be first, which is cool. Like I guess the whole shtick is you got to run up there and be the first person to sit down in the chair. Stupid, but okay. Why don't we just draw lots? Anyway, where Alex was saying that this person was virtue signaling, we would call that, moral masking. 100%. This person was moral masking. She was trying to be strategically performative, demonstrating how she is a good person compared to Julian by, I'm not going to use the O word because it's offensive. Do you know why it's offensive, Julian? And Julian was like, no, and I don't actually care. So that backfired a lot. And then that also leads us into the narrative control where, again, I'm not going to use the O word because it's offensive. We're defining words in a way, or we're defining the purpose of a word in a way that what she's trying to do here is immediately eliminate a word from usage. And it's a very important word because it's the literal topic of this whole thing. Like, the question is, obesity is not healthy. Well, I'm not going to use the O word, but that's the literal topic. I'm going to use fat bodies. But fat body isn't what we're talking about. But okay. So not only does this person sit down and immediately start virtue signaling and moral masking, she also immediately starts down and tries to take control of the overall narrative of the conversation. And Julian does not cave at this at all. Julian immediately turns this around on her and points out that, fat and obesity is, they're just descriptive terms for an excess of weight on the body. And the woman's like, and she says, and it doesn't really have any kind of it's not a moral judgment on the individual. And the person's like, oh, okay, yeah, we can agree on that. And then Julian goes, are we going to actually talk about the topic, or are you just going to talk to me, or are you just going to pretend like you're my mommy and talk to me like I'm a 3-year-old? I forget that Julian was mean. I forgot she was the mean one. So there's that. I'm trying to figure out where that one comes in. That really does kind of come into the again, the taking back of the narrative control. I won't say that that's moral masking because I don't really think she's trying to position herself as morally superior to the woman here. Because I don't really think that she's trying to present herself as being morally superior. She's just basically telling this woman, I'm not going to put up with your shit. You can decide for yourself if that's moral superiority or not. She's just literally not putting up with this woman's crap. And this woman does not find that funny. I, however, thought it was hilarious.
Telling me how to talk.
Wow.
Yeah, there we go. Telling me how to talk. Wow. Well, you did come in and try to eliminate an entire term, which was, again, the point of the conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
So the claim that you're saying is that it is inherently unhealthy to live in a fat body.
Yes.
It's inherently unhealthy to have excess body fat, yes.
Okay. Where are you getting that information from?
Oh, okay.
Science. Okay, so here's something interesting that the videos are doing. This is why we're only doing one claim at a time, by the way. Jubilee's got a little thing over here that popped up and it says fact check. According to the World Health Organization and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, excess body fat, particularly at levels classified as obesity, is associated with increased risks of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, certain cancers, high blood pressure, and premature death. May I say, at all levels. However, body fat is not the only determinant of health. Did you just feel like you needed to squirrel that in there to play devil's advocate? Physical activity, diet, quality, genetics, metabolic markers also play major roles. All right, Jubilee. Here's why I said I needed to fact check Jubilee. Jubilee wants to say, however, body fat is not the only determinant of health. Physical activity often correlates with obesity and high rates of body fat. Where were we? Diet quality often correlates with very, very, very often, literally nearly every time, correlates with obesity. Genetics, to a degree, I know people really want genetics to play a bigger factor in obesity than that does. I know people really, really, really want obesity to be genetics. It's really, really, really not. But I know everyone really wants it to be. I know it would be nice to be like, oh, I'm fat because, my family's fat because it's genetics. It's really not, though. Anyway, and metabolic markers. Metabolics do play a role in how difficult it is to lose weight, but they don't determine whether you're going to be obese or not. So this is a weird CYA devil's advocate comment that Jubilee stuck in here at the end. But really, when you look at all of the little things that Jubilee put in here, where body fat is not the only determinant of health, 2 out of the 4 of these are usually correlated to having larger amounts of body fat. Diet quality usually being the cause, the immediate cause of excess body fat. Physical activity usually is also directly correlated with the amount of body fat that you have. Genetics, again, y'all can argue with me if you want, but in metabolic markers, again, that one is kind of, I've not personally seen enough evidence to convince me that metabolic markers really do contribute that much to obesity itself. Metabolic markers might contribute to how difficult or easy it is for you to lose weight, but even then, I'm not convinced that it actually contributes that much. I'm not even really convinced it's a thing. So there's that. So these 4 little things Jubilee stuck in here so that they can be like, but body fat. But 2 out of the 4 of your body fat things, 2 out of the 4 of your non-body fat things are directly linked to body fat. And the other 2 things don't have anything to do with it at all. Genetics has nothing to do with obesity. And metabolic markers, I'm up in the air on. So if you've got good research that you can send to me, I'm more than happy to look at it. I'm always open to looking at good research. So feel free. Because I learn things daily that I'm like, oh, well, I was wrong. But I've not seen anything that I really like, but feel free to send me stuff. All that being said, the biggest part of this fact check here does actually stand in Julian's favor as far as having excess body fat, aka being obese, is inherently bad for your health. So, Julian is correct. Fight.
There are dozens of MRT trials that show having excess body fat. Dozens is causal, not correlated.
Oh, no, that's not true. There's
Yes, it is.
no disease that just fat-bodied people get.
Obesity. Obesity is the disease. Skinny people don't have obesity. You know what the fun part about obesity? It's a medical condition. It's the one medical condition that non-obese people have. Ah?
I didn't say that. But obesity.
Oh, I will. I will go toe-to-toe with you on that one. There's no condition that obesity causes. Obesity? You mean the medical condition obesity? Huh.
Lends itself to all-cause mortality across the board. Have you
Yes.
heard of something called adiposopathy? Okay, so you know it means literally sick fat. And you understand how it works? Okay, tell me
Do you? Because that didn't look convincing to me. Julian's pissed, by the way.
how it works.
So it's additional layer of fat in the stomach area.
No,
You have adipose correct.
that's not what it is. It works as follows. When we eat too much food that has energy that we're not utilizing, the body needs to put that energy somewhere, right? So it puts it in.
I like the people in the background while Julian's explaining this, because she's already corrected this woman, and God knows what else has happened because, again, editing. But these two people in particular that are directly behind Julian, they're both uncomfortable. And they could just be uncomfortable because they're sitting in the world's most uncomfortable chairs, because they just are. So in general, they're probably uncomfortable. I'm just saying right now, they're probably just uncomfortable. But she starts lecturing this woman on what the term is after explaining to her that no, she's wrong, because she is. And you can see that they are not exactly thrilled that this person who sat down and described herself as a ED therapist, who was using that credential as a form of authority, that she is being shown to not, in fact, know much about what is being discussed, right? And that's not a great sign. Now, normally, when you see a debate like this occur, where you have one person who is an authority, that would be Julian, and they debate someone who is a non-authority, usually it goes poorly for the person who is the authority, only because they're normally, and in this situation, Julian is surrounded by a hostile environment, right? These people who have surrounded Julian are all, I'm going to assume, FA, Hayes, and BoPo people. That's just my assumption that I'm going with. Else, why would we be calling this surrounded? Right? So she is she's a sore thumb in the group, right? Normally in these situations, the debate will go very poorly for the person who is the authority. But that's usually when the debate is not regulated well. I don't know, again, editing, I don't know how the debate was regulated. That's not the word I'm looking for, but because there does appear to be a dude who seems to be like, here's the claim, who wants to be the first one to debate. So he does seem to be like keeping track of things. But I don't know how involved he is. There doesn't seem to be screaming or anything like that. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. And the people in the audience, which are the people around her, don't seem to be able to interject and they seem to be quiet. But again, we're only like 5 minutes into this. I know we're a half hour into my video, but here we are. So that creates a less disruptive environment for this type of a debate. Which is good, because as I said, normally when these style of debates occur, the person who is the authority typically gets shouted down or washed out by the crowd who are anti whatever the authority person is saying. And it's impossible for them to get their case across because people there don't want to hear, in this case, what Julian has to say. They don't want to hear Julian's facts. They don't want to hear the reality that Julian has to tell them because it doesn't align with their worldview. And so when she does present facts, when she does show that she is aware of the reality of the situation, and she can quote actual studies and she can put actual facts out there that this person clearly is not aware of, or just even the definitions of basic terms that this person probably should be aware of if they're going to claim that they are, it makes the people behind them, it makes the people around her uncomfortable, because now they have to at least listen to, if not acknowledge, that Julian is an authority on a topic that they would rather remain ignorant on, because it challenges the worldview that they want to live under, because that worldview allows them to be fat and healthy, obese and healthy. Obesity is not real. The health problems that obesity causes aren't real. Society lies to you, right? And then you have this woman here who is falsely representing the health community, And she cannot stand toe to toe with Julian as far as even knowing basic terms because she's not a doctor. And Julian is throwing out medical terminology or just medical concepts. Julian herself, I don't believe, is a doctor, but she clearly has educated herself on the topic. You don't have to be a doctor to know topics, right? You can learn. The internet is a thing. So, I'm just saying. I feel like these topics might have been presented before the show. Anyway, I think I'm rambling at this point, so let's just jump back in.
So it puts it in initially subcutaneous fat cells, a little bit of visceral fat, which is fat around the organs. And at first you have hyperplasia, which means we're recruiting new little fat cells.
This is a fact check. Adiposity or sick fat refers to the dysfunctional fat tissue that contributes to metabolic disease. It is not simply excess body fat, but fat that has become biologically altered in ways that promote inflammation, insulin resistance, abnormal cholesterol levels, and increased cardiovascular risk, according to the American Association of Clinical Endocrinology. Whew. My reading is on point today.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing up to a point. Now, the issue is that once you can no longer recruit more fat cells, right, you get hypertrophy. So the fat cells start to expand. And this is exceptionally dangerous because what ends up happening is the blood vessels get outpaced. So the fat cells can't get oxygen and they start screaming, literally. And when they do, they release cytokines, inflammatory proteins, right?
I want to pause.
I want to pause. Why? Julian's like, oh, no, we're not pausing. This is funny. Do I want to interrupt here? Do I want to jump in before we go too far? I suppose we can say in this moment that this is definitely narrative control, only because Julian is definitely defining terms and she is definitely defining terminology. One can say that she is defining correct terminology, but we're talking about forms of manipulation here and, ways of controlling in general the event that is occurring. That's the dark anthropology of it all. So whether she's correct or not is slightly irrelevant because what she is doing is she is taking control of the conversation and she is maintaining control of the conversation. Now, again, I'm not saying she's wrong, and I'm not saying what she's doing is wrong. I just want to point out that correct or incorrect, she is still taking control and controlling the narrative. Now, I might agree with her, but I do want to point out that it is still the same thing.
Of course you do. I want to pause.
Okay.
Oh, wow. She's rough, man. Of course you want to pause. Damn it. Okay, mental note. Never talk to Jillian Michaels. Check.
Because it
Word in edgewise. No.
it's irrefutable. You don't even know what I'm talking about. So,
Jillian, okay, first of all, I don't appreciate the way that you're speaking to me right now. You called me out for just trying to understand the languaging.
The languaging? Okay, so this is empathy mining as strategic victimhood. I don't appreciate the way you're talking to me. You just attacked me for even asking. You didn't ask. You claimed that you knew the term and then proved that you did not. You never asked about anything. Julian said, do you know what adiposity, I think I said that wrong, is? And you said yes, to which Julian said, okay, what is it? And you started to define it incorrectly, and then Julian jumped in and defined it correctly for you. You never asked. So that is also not only empathy mining, but that is also ritualized deception, where you are trying to effectively gaslight what has just happened. We are all sitting here. Now, I don't know why we keep cutting to this woman. I don't know what the fuck she has to do with shit. There we go. Okay, anyway. That person was irrelevant to the conversation we were having. So, no, you didn't ask anything. So Julian did not attack you for squat, right? Julian was explaining to you how you were wrong. don't get me wrong. It wasn't, I mean, it was fun for me, but it probably wasn't fun for you. All right. So there's that. But that again, that is this individual. That is this individual with the strategic victimhood. And she's now going to try to empathy mine, with the whole Julian's attacking me. She's being mean. And you can see that the people in the background here are agreeing with her with their body language that, yes, indeed, Julian's being mean. Sure. I don't know, man. I seem to recall that being her shtick. Anyway, this also does go back to the moral masking. You're being mean. I am not a mean person. I just simply wanted to know the answer, and you're jumping down my throat. Again, you never asked. You pretended like you knew, and you didn't. So Julian jumped in and started to correct you. Could she have been nicer about it? Probably. Is that gonna happen? Apparently not. So sucks to be you. You're the one that sat in the chair. All right. Try to see. I guess here, one thing I do want to talk about is parasocial intimacy. Normally, I use this term when we're talking about the girls and their relationship with their audience. We could apply this here very easily with, I forgot her name already, and I apologize for that. It was very rude of me. But the woman here, we could very easily make the argument that this parasocial intimacy or this parasitic intimacy that's going on here is her trying to create a parasocial relationship with the people who have surrounded Julian, right? Because she sits down and, like Alex said in his video, she immediately starts to virtue signal that she is not like Julian. She finds the term, the O word, offensive, and she knows why it's offensive and yada, yada, yada. And, she tries to establish her authority by saying she's an ED therapist. And, she's trying to go toe to toe with Julian, with her credentials and her authority. What are Julian's qualifications? I'm sorry. I gotta go look her up at this point. It's Jillian, isn't it? I've been calling her Julian. It's Jillian, isn't it? Sorry. It's only 40 minutes into the fucking video. Jillian. I just want to know. So she's just a personal trainer. Oh, she's got kids. So, I mean, that's not she's just a personal trainer. Sorry, that came out wrong. She attended California State University in Northridge, supporting herself as a bartender and personal trainer during that time. In 2002, after working briefly as an agent with an international creative management, she opened the sports medicine facility Sky Resort and Spa in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills. That's where I wanna be. Okay, as a personal trainer, Michaels uses a blend of strength training techniques with her clients, including kickboxing, yoga, Pilates, polymetrics, and weight training. Developed a continuing education series for trainers with AFAA, American Fitness Professionals and Associates. I don't know, man. Oh, I remember those. The Losing It with Jillian. There's no U in there. Jillian. I do like that tummy though. Look at them abs. Look at that. That is some abs. The other person who has really nice abs for their age, Gwen Stefani. Anyway, Michaels and Basic Research LLC were sued in a class action lawsuit for false advertising when marketing Jillian Michaels Maximum Strength Calorie Control, which claimed to promote weight loss by only taking 2 pills before a meal. Basic Research was given Most Outrageous Award for Quack Watch's 2010 Slim Chance Awards, which is awarded to promoters of weight loss schemes. Michaels was sued multiple times over the diet pills with her name on them. The lawsuits were later dismissed. Look, her credentials are about as solid as the woman she's arguing with. All right. And honestly, with the amount of experience and the amount of time that Jillian has had in the field of health and fitness, I mean, sometimes experience is just as good as education. So she's, so far she hasn't been wrong. So she's quoting studies and she's quoting facts. So my guess is she at least did her homework, which is more than can be said about this woman. So far, I already agree with the claim. So I'm a little biased, more than a little probably. So here we are with that. But I just wanted to know if Jillian had an actual advanced degree of any variety, but she does have a degree. But this woman could as well. I don't know. I'm not going to go dig her up either. So she came in and said she was an ED therapist. So, there you go. I'm going to take her at her word for it. Onward.
Okay, first of all, I don't appreciate the way that you're speaking to me. You called me out for just trying to understand the languaging and saying I was talking to a 3-year-old. I felt like I was talking to you very respectfully. You're
questioning the languaging. You haven't asked. The only question you have asked is, do you understand why that might be offensive? That's the only question you've asked. And you asked it in an incredibly condescending way. So understanding the languaging, I'm going to assume you're just flustered. Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing you've done so far. The only question you have asked so far. Everything else you have claimed to have knowledge on and been proven to not.
You're talking to me very disrespectfully right now.
You started it. Literally, you started it. Again, going back to the strategic victimhood, this is moral masking. You're talking to me very disrespectfully right now. You literally started it. You started it by talking to Julian like she was a 5-year-old who didn't understand that other people had emotions. Do you understand why that might be offensive? Who are you talking to? We haven't even said hi. What the fuck? You sat down and immediately attacked me.
Here's the thing. I want to, you're telling me you understand it, but you don't understand it. You fundamentally didn't describe it accurately.
But what I understand is that
what's lipotoxicity?
I don't want to talk about, I am not, okay, here, I'm going to say this straight out. I am not a medical doctor.
No shit.
Okay, so I'm not going to talk to you about medical diagnosis because that's...
I'm not going to talk to you about medical diagnosis. The claim is obesity is not healthy and pretending it is puts lives at risk. If you can't discuss the medical implications of obesity, then why did you sit down? What did you come over here to discuss? Because you're not discussing the claim. So why did you sit down? So you came over specifically just so that you could get the clout of confronting Jillian Michaels? I'm only saying it that way so that I'm positive that I'm saying her name correctly. So you basically just came over here so that you could get the brownie points of confronting Jillian Michaels first. Well, this is what happens. You get made an ass of because you came over unprepared, and she's not amused. And neither am I, frankly.
It's outside my scope, and I'm fully willing. Hey, I'm fully willing to be wrong. What I am here...
Well, you are. What I am here. Okay, what you're here for?
To talk to you about is the fact that people in fat bodies are irrevocably harmed going into the medical system every single day because of the term, the O word. So,
but that's not the claim. The claim is obesity is not healthy, and promoting and pretending it is puts lives at risk. That's the claim. Not fat-bodied people are put at risk in the medical system. That wasn't the claim. Actually, I think that's the claim later on, but that's not the claim right now. I'm glad you came in with an agenda, but you've derailed the conversation for your own personal reasons, which frankly is disappointing because this is a really good claim to argue because it is a cornerstone of FA and Hayes that obesity is not inherently unhealthy. That's a cornerstone of Hayes and FA, that we can ignore obesity because obesity itself is not unhealthy. So what you're doing is completely derailing the conversation for your own purposes. I guess we'll throw that under narrative control because you came over and you were like, I don't fucking like your question. I'm taking it over. I that's the best I can do there. And also it's clearly moral masking, aka strategic performity, because you're like, yeah, I don't like your topic, so I'm gonna take it over and talk about what I want to talk about, which is a topic that's more focused on the harm being done to obese people as opposed to acknowledging misinformation about obesity. So there I tried. I'm going to have to come up with a new point for that one. Just for you. What am I going to call it? I'm going to call it the Kelly principle. I think that was your name. Does she get it? Oh, she gets other people to talk to. Oh, thank God. Right. Okay, cool.
So that's what you want to litigate?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the claim, though.
The idea that fat-bodied people are...
Okay, but why are you still going? Here's a problem. For anyone who ever decides that this is something you want to do, you want to go to a debate and you want to sit down and you want to like prove your point or something at a debate like this. This woman looks like an idiot now. And I'm saying that in the kindest way possible. Not only does she look like an idiot, she looks like an uninformed idiot who is just pursuing a pointless conversation after it is being pointed out that she is in the wrong, right? She doesn't look like she's achieving anything of value at this point. It has been pointed out to her somewhat politely for Jillian that she is ignoring the claim, the point of the debate, and that she is ignoring that for her own purposes. So at this point going forward, and this woman has agreed that she is doing that on top of everything else. So everything happening from this point forward, unless this woman decides to redirect and start addressing the actual claim, which it doesn't look like she's going to, she just looks like an ass at this point. So if you're ever in this situation and you happen to be the woman in the blue shirt, bow out gracefully. Just go sit back down. You're done now. They're on to you.
Are inherently unhealthy is, I believe, incorrect.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong.
This is like, you're wrong.
Amount of data.
I'm not wrong.
Okay, so
Okay, what's the red flags? I guess I should have watched the beginning to have the red flags explained to me.
let me
You can't
finish
look-
the
you
thought.
can't look at-
And let me finish the
Let me
thought.
finish my thought first,
Okay,
please.
sure.
You can't
Whoops, sorry. I
look
didn't mean
at
to
a
do it.
person's body and tell whether or not tell their health status.
Yeah, actually you can.
So fat is an endocrine organ. When it overgrows, it does wreak havoc in the body. I didn't finish telling you what happens. So when the oxygen can't get to those fat cells, they'll die and they'll rupture. And then the immune system starts dumping macrophages in to try to clean it up.
But do you know what's
But they
even more
can't clean
unhealthy
it up.
is weight cycling. And as
No, really, it's not. Actually, there's been lots of studies on weight cycling that show that it has little to no impact on your ability to gain or lose weight. Weight cycling actually is like kind of a non-issue. So
we talked about earlier, only except for your
That is not
people who
the
have.
claim. If you want to talk about that claim, we can. The claim is.
So then what are
that
you supposed
having-
to do though? So let's say this person is in a fat body and they are inherently unhealthy, right? We're telling they're unhealthy because they're in this
The
fat
vast
body.
majority
What are
of
they supposed to
people will
do?
be more.
lose weight. Stop eating as much and lose weight. I mean, the only thing that has been proven to help with weight loss is the restriction of calories.
More, significantly more prone to all-cause mortality. For me,
Intentional weight loss fails 95 to 98% of the time.
No, it doesn't. That's a false claim, and those statistics are incorrect.
So what
tell
is
me
the
why, though? You would probably know this better than me.
There's no strong scientific evidence supporting a universal 95 to 98 failure rate. Research shows many people regain weight over time, but outcomes vary depending on how, quote, success is defined. One comprehensive review published in American Psychologist found that about 1/3 to 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost in long-term follow-ups, and it did not support a precise 95 to 98% failure figure because it's incorrect, and it was made up. That 95 to 98% failure rate was made up by FA and Hayes because they don't like people doing diets because they fail at the diets, and so they want everyone else to fail at the diets. One thing that you need to understand about FA and Hayes and BoPo as well, because again, they're all basically the same thing. They have a crab in a bucket mentality. And the crab in the bucket mentality is when you got a bunch of crabs in a bucket, actual crabs. And when a crab starts to climb out of the bucket for freedom, the rest of the crabs, instead of, for whatever reason, I don't know why, for whatever reason, instead of like letting the crab crawl out or helping the crab crawl out, they'll grab hold of the crab that's escaping and pull it back into the bucket. It's a crab in a bucket. So you don't have to worry about the crabs getting out of the bucket because the other crabs will basically police themselves and keep themselves in the bucket. And that's what Fat Acceptance and Hayes do. Anytime someone in their group starts to lose weight or get healthy or any of that kind of stuff, and you can see this anytime anyone, even people who aren't part of BoPo, Hayes, or FA, start to get healthy, they immediately will attack them and shame them for their weight loss or for getting healthy. And then they will attack and demonize the concept of dieting and weight loss. And one of the tactics that they will use is, you're just going to gain all that weight back anyway, with this 95 to 98% failure rate thing that they go on about. It's not true. It never has been true. I don't know where they first started getting this thing from, other than they just pulled it out of the ether and were like, yeah, that sounds like a scary number. Let's use that number. And they just all started using it from that point forward because it supports their narrative, right? I can't lose weight, therefore no one else can. That's why diets don't work, right? No, it doesn't work because you don't have the discipline for it. Do you need an aid to help you lose? Sure, maybe. Maybe you need Ozempic. Maybe you need the shot. Maybe you need a diet pill. Maybe you need weight loss surgery. These are all tools to help you lose weight. But in the end, what all of those tools are doing is helping you restrict your caloric intake, because that's really the only thing that works. Yeah, okay, some people need that surgery because they need to have that physical restriction. But all you're doing is restricting. It's still just another way of restricting. I don't know what these red flags are. And I don't know what the little doohickey thingy in the bottom, because it's slowly filling up. Does that mean the person's like losing? Who are the red flags for? I should have listened to the beginning. I guess we'll learn through context clues. Go.
Because weight is not an individualistic pursuit. You narrow it down to this idea that it's causal, like that they're just not trying hard enough. But that is...
No, she's never said anything like that. You are trying to put words into her mouth. Now, this tactic, this attempt to put words into Jillian's mouth, this is disruptive reasoning. It's also a form of ritualized deception, but it's more disruptive reasoning. Again, we've already watched this person try to gaslight the situation, the conversation that has been occurring. But now this is a form of gaslighting, yes, because she's like, you're trying to say XYZ. And Jillian's like, no, I've never said anything like that. Because we even us can sit here and be like, no, she never said that. But it's also a form of disruptive reasoning because she's trying to create effectively a straw argument that never occurred, right? Because it's easier for her to argue against this straw argument than it is for her, obviously, to address the actual conversation that is supposed to be occurring, because she, as she stated, doesn't actually know anything about the topic. So why she ran up here to sit down to argue the topic is anyone's guess. Other than she just wanted the clout for having a conversation with Jillian. Jillian scares me. Honest to God, if I don't think I would do this. I would sit here and watch it, clearly, but I I have no reason to argue with her either, but I don't think I would want to go toe to toe with Jillian about anything, honestly. She's scary.
I didn't say that. It's multifactorial, unquestionably.
She's also very well spoken, and she's not afraid to use her big words, which will lose 80% of people in a debate, because a lot of people don't use words like this, even during debates. So
A lot of people lose weight. Problem, right, is that they put it back on. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Okay, great. Why do you think?
Okay, we got pause there.
God damn it! All right.
she's like, I was getting somewhere.
I'm sorry.
John, I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah, but you voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
I have lived in a fat body for like as long as I can remember.
Angela's our new person. Hello, Angela. Welcome to the hot seat.
And I've known very many fat people. And I don't think any of us, the people that I know, I can only speak to the people that I know, I don't think any of us are pretending that we're okay with it.
All right.
What I want to say here is I live with autoimmune disorders. I live with chronic illness. And
Are any of you going to actually address the topic?
I'm also neurodivergent.
Okay, do you want a gold star? Look, I'm going to piss off a lot of people right now. I'm getting really sick and fucking tired of people being like, I'm neurodivergent, like it's some kind of fucking pass in life. It's really not. I'm very sorry, it's not. My partner's neurodivergent. I apparently fall on that spectrum as well. Congratulations. And it's like, people, I'm depressed. Cool. And what do you want? Can we please stop with this shit? I don't know what you want from me. You still have to wake up, you still have to go to work, you still have to do your job, you still have to contribute to society. I don't care if you're neurodivergent or not. I understand that certain forms of that require certain adjustments. I'm perfectly willing to let you have that. But what the fuck why does this have to do with anything? Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. That's my tirade for the day. I apologize. I'm just really getting tired of people throwing that out there. And maybe it's because I'm getting tired of Rosie using it as some kind of fucking excuse, even though she has like no reason to be using it as an excuse. But either way, I'm getting tired of it. I'm neurodivergent. You and 70% of the population. Cool. It just, cool story, bro.
And this is, the body positivity movement has made it so that I can tolerate this life.
How so?
I can find ways to thrive.
What does that have to do with the topic is obesity is not healthy, and pretending it is puts lives at risk.
Even still, but I'm not pretending that this doesn't bother me. And by bother, I mean that it doesn't hurt to carry my weight. I'm willing to concede with you that carrying around extra weight is harder. It
So why are you here?
is. But it must be done.
Okay, so why are you here? What are we doing? So you agree that obesity is not healthy?
I don't know that I agree with you.
Okay.
Okay, well, all right. I don't know if I agree with you. All right, cool.
Tell me more, please.
Well, tell me why you think it must be done.
Because I've worked really hard to not have this.
What does that mean? Like you beat yourself up in the gym or something?
No, I don't. That's not fun.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to understand what you mean.
What I mean is that I grew up with a number of undiagnosed conditions. And even I can think back to like middle school, and I couldn't keep up when the PE teacher would make us like run laps. And I'm like, this is
Neither could I.
physically aching me, and I didn't understand why. And I didn't understand why because I grew up with a single parent, undocumented single parent.
I mean, that sucks that your parents were okay. I don't mean that in a negative way. I understand that it's somewhat terrifying to grow up with parents who were undocumented, especially in the US during this person seems to be very young compared to me, so I'm assuming they've grown up in the US within the last 20 years. And I know what the political climate has been like for undocumented people in the last 20 years, so that's why I'm like, that sucks. So that had to be difficult. to further piss everyone off. This is moral masking. It is strategic performativeness, but it is also strategic victimhood and empathy mining. Remember, this person sat down immediately, and like the first couple things out of their mouth were, "I've always been a fat-bodied person. I'm also neurodivergent." Like those, they just immediately threw those cards down, like bam, bam, bam. And Julian was like, "I don't fucking care. I'm kind of on the same boat." But this person knew that those cards had some value to them. They had some kind of social currency to them. And so they immediately threw those cards down to establish some kind of hierarchy. Whether Julian acknowledged it or not, the rest of the audience might have, right? So that was the immediate establishment here. An interesting twist was that this person eventually got around to saying that they agreed that their obesity wasn't healthy. But they said that the BoPo and Hayes movement was necessary because they needed it in order to live their life. And that's the part that Jillian was like, "Please explain. I don't understand. I don't agree." So at that point, I think we start slipping into narrative control, only because we need to define what the hell we're talking about. Because I kind of got lost right there. And maybe that's just me being like, well, it has to be narrative control because I don't fucking know what we're talking about. But maybe not. But I've also haven't let this person talk very far either. So I just want to get those established before we get too much further into this one.
Bound to the medical system that we had access to.
I understand.
I've done what I needed to do
Which
a
is,
number of times to try to lose weight.
okay, I was like, what are we talking about?
What did you try? Tell me.
I've done.
Why is this dude holding up a flag? What is the flag for?
I've worked.
And if it's for the audience doesn't like the person speaking, what the fuck do you have a problem with? This person barely stopped. I've interrupted them quite a few times, but they've barely been speaking.
Out at the gym, I've tried to do Pilates. Even yoga. Okay. Even yoga hurts me.
Okay, so the mistake you're making here is that you're trying to out-exercise your diet, which does not work. And that is another flawed perception that a lot of Hayes people, especially, and FA people seem to have. And I don't know why they continue to have this perception, because it has been proven to not be true. But they all have this perception that you can out-exercise a bad diet, which you cannot. It's been proven, right? But yet, when they sit down and they talk about diet culture and that kind of shit, they almost always are talking about how they have to over-exercise in order to drop weight. And again, that's an outdated concept. That's an outdated theory. And now, in all fairness, Jillian did come off of Biggest Loser, which I don't remember too much about that show because I watched, I think, maybe 2 episodes of it back when it very first came out, which was a very long time ago. But it seems to me like the whole premise of that show was they effectively like starved the people on it and basically like exercised the crap out of them. So yeah, that was kind of the deal of that show, as I recall. So I don't know where Jillian, sits on that. I'm assuming not there, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so the exercise causes you pain.
The exercise causes
condition. Okay, no problem.
Right.
I'm with you.
Dieting, for example.
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think that food makes very much sense to me in my neurodivergent brain.
What? Like the concept of food doesn't make, obviously something about food makes sense to you. Not to be a dick, but they do have like the most uncomfortable chairs that they could have possibly have picked for these people to sit in. Like, not only are they these stupid fucking folding chairs, but they're like those, well, they're stupid fucking folding chairs. I hurt looking at these chairs, just FYI. Like, I don't think anybody's comfortable in these goddamn chairs. Just putting it out there.
This is where mechanistic eating actually helps people who are neurodivergent, and the research supports that because
I don't even know what that is.
it doesn't have to make sense to you.
Okay.
In other words, it's like you eat on these schedules and you eat these foods and you eat this much, hence the
I don't know if you needed to do that. That was unnecessary in my opinion, but I don't know if you needed to do like but I understand like she's trying to explain mechanistic eating.
concept, right, of mechanistic.
I don't like that.
I understand that you don't like it, but you'll have to decide which you don't like more.
Fair.
Carrying the weight.
I don't like that. I don't really. I think that's what the point that Jillian is saying. Like, I don't really care if you don't like it or not. It's been proven by studies to work.
Or the mechanistic eating, because it actually could be helpful. There are other ways for
Do you know what mechanistic eating is? You are an ED doctor. You are an ED therapist. You might actually know what that one is. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm sorry. That one made me laugh. She's like, God damn it, the one term I do know.
but you told me you tried them.
I tried a whole lot. There's a lot of other things to be concerned about. I'm also a social worker. I work with youth. There are a lot of...
Let's go back to...
What the hell does that have to do with you and your eating and mechanistic eating? Like, what does you being a social worker have to do with that? That doesn't... And... What is with people and not being able to stay on topic? Also, still not talking about the actual topic. What is with these red flags? Does it mean they don't like the person talking?
You...
Yes. I'm saying for me, right? There are many things that I'm more concerned about than my weight. My body is not the most
Then why are you here? What is happening? What is this point? What is the point of this?
interesting thing about
brought
me.
up your weight and said, I don't see a way out of this.
Right.
I've tried everything.
I take care of it in the ways that I can, and I've found works for me.
But you just told me it didn't work.
I'm going to agree with Jillian on this one. You did just say that these things don't work for you, and you agreed that it's not healthy. Like, so you sit down, you say, yes, I agree, excess weight is unhealthy. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. And then you say, I've tried, vaguely, you say, I've tried exercise and diet, and that didn't work. And then because I'm neurodivergent, and then Jillian says, well, mechanistic eating has been proven to be successful with people who are neurodivergent. And to which you say, I don't like that. Which part? The fact that it's successful with people who are neurodivergent? So you don't have an excuse not to try it? Because you can't throw the neurodivergent card down as an excuse this time? Is that what you don't like about it? This is why I don't like people using that card. Because Julian was apparently prepared for that. Props. I need to go look at what mechanistic eating is, though, so... sarcasm and all that aside. And now you're trying to say, I don't care. What? This is disruptive reasoning 101. This is a constant moving of the goalpost, a constant changing of the topic. This is a tactic that is deliberately meant to confuse and distort your ability to follow the conversation and to distinguish truth from deception. And I gotta give Jillian props. Jillian props here, because she's not falling for it. She seems to be keeping focus pretty well. So that's pretty. I'm pretty impressed with it, actually. It does make her appear to be coming off very aggressive and very confrontational, but that's only because she's not being distracted from the topic at hand. Don't get me wrong, there was that part where she was like, I don't think that was necessary, but, here we are. So, wow, we're only halfway through this first topic. Wow. We might have to break these up. into parts. I think we have a new strategy, and I'll tell you guys about it in a second. But yeah, let's go.
But it works to an extent.
You just told me it didn't work for you.
It works to an extent.
And this is an irrelevant conversation if you're happy with it.
I stand on 10 toes down, that we are not pretending that
But there's
this is
healthy
okay.
at any size. There are absolutely elements and aspects of the movement that do put that messaging into the universe. I've had those debates.
You've said?
I've had numerous
I want
debates
to-
with people who are body positivity activists that try to tell me that they can be healthy at any size. And it's just not the case.
And I disagree with that.
And I can
we
use
gotta
this
pause there.
shame.
We
You've
have to
used shame as a
pause.
vehicle.
I'm sorry, we have to pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
What is that face? Like, you won shit. You did not win this conversation, my friend. So apparently whenever the little red flags fill all the way up, you have to stop talking. I'm sure that was explained at the beginning. You know, the beginning that I skipped. All right, we're going to pause here, and then we're going to do the second half of this in a different video. So you'll see this whole outfit in a different video. So if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and put a nice spring flower, a daffodil if you can find it. I don't know if they have daffodils, but go ahead and put a nice spring flower down in the comment section. I'm thinking spring because spring's not typically 90 fucking degrees. It's hot, guys. Go ahead and do that down in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think. So far, we've had 2 people debate Jillian, and I apologize for calling her Julian through the first part of this video. I apologize for that. I don't really have an excuse. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the first 2 debaters so far. Do you know who they are by any chance? Because they all seem to have some kind of social media. I didn't look them up, and I'm not going to. They are not relevant to the conversation. So I'm sure they are. I don't actually care. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of Jillian. I'm kind of a fence sitter. I'm not really a Jillian fan, but I'm not really like a Jillian anti-fan either. She scares me. I'm not gonna lie. She just has like an intimidation aura around her, and I'm just kind of like, I'd rather not. So I'm not gonna lie about that one. But I haven't disagreed with her. Wait, no, I did. I haven't disagreed with her much. So let me put it that way. I do like that Jubilee is pretending to fact check, and so far they've been correct. They've been correct, with the exception of that first little part there where they were trying to like be nice about it. And it's just like, yes, but all of those things that you mentioned have to do with obesity. So anyway, but that's all I've got for you guys. So thank you everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. So I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.